Awesome. Well, happy Thursday, everybody, and thank you for joining today. I'm really excited for today's panel because we're talking about photography on the farm, and we have two wonderful agritourism destinations that host photography numerous times throughout the year. And then we also have a surprise guest today. We have Miss Liz Williams, who is a photographer that has been many times at the orchard, but has also been a couple of other locations across North Carolina, and she's going to share her perspective today about what she looks for when going to photograph on agritourism farms and just what we might want to think about when kind of marketing to that part of the group. But Wendi, Kevin, I'm going to let you guys do a quick 5 minute or so introduction of you and your farm and what you guys do from a photography lens, and then we'll let Liz introduce herself.
Wendy, you want to go first?
You can.
Okay. Well, I'm Kevin Gray. I've have Hickory Creek Farm in Greensboro, and we're a choose and cut Christmas tree farm. And we started, we opened to the public in 2015, and about 2017 is when we started hosting photography sessions. Um, I guess you could say as an actual side business. And now we open it up for registrations in August 1st, and the photographers can register for slots. And we actually start sessions around the middle of October, and we run every day, um, afternoons during the week, and then on the weekends, especially up to our opening day, which is the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And we stay really busy with that during that fall season. And then we slow it down just a little bit when we open to start selling trees just because it's too much. Um, but we do at least one photographer all weekend during our when we're open. So it's the Christmas tree fields that is our big draw for photography here.
Awesome. Wendi, you want to give a little bit about you guys in Dewberry?
Sure. So I'm Wendi Johnson. I'm one of the owners at Dewberry Farm in Kernersville. And we do a lot with photography here on the farm. And I think it started, we were mainly a wedding venue. So photographers were here and people, getting married and doing bridals. And then had people just started to ask to do photography here. So we quickly realized that that was a great way to make side money, was to open it up for photography. And then when we do our flower events, we let photographers come and take pictures, mini sessions here for that. We also do a lot of decorating. So spring, fall, and Christmas are big times people come and take pictures, and they can schedule, like just a family come and take their own pictures or through a photographer. But we've been doing it for about 16 years. So it's a good, usually a good thing.
Well,
It can
I'm
be
going
a
to
headache.
jump in. No, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just gonna say it can be a headache, but it is really good money. It's a good sideline for sure.
Mhm.
I think it's important. I think it's a nice additional stream in addition to what you normally sell. But Marissa is not 100%, and I am running in late to the game, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm really glad to be here. And Liz, I'm so excited to see you. She's one of our very favorites here at the orchard, but do not scoop her up, please. We need to keep her here. Um, but I think as we kind of end this, what we were talking about as far as of our intros is wanting to know it from the agritourism side, but also from the photographer side. One, are we wanting to market photographers? Or for us, what we do is our guests want to go, what do photographers want? How do they want us to dress? Different things. Are there things you could provide to your guest that make it better? So, Liz, I'm going to throw it to you. I will give you a little intro. Liz has been involved with, I will say, our orchard family for several years. Um, we met them as customers and they became friends and are photographers. She does our luxury picnic photo sessions, our other photo sessions we do on the farm, in addition to her own business. Um, They also have been super gracious in coming out as we do big plantings, and they'll capture some of those farm memories that we love. So, Liz, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Liz Williams, from North Carolina. Basically, I've been doing photography for about 17-ish years, maybe a little more. Both which, funny enough, I will have my parents come shoot for me. They're both photographers as well. So a lot of times they'll come out there with me. Or they'll end up doing stuff for me too. But I got a little bit of background in photography from RCC, graduated from there, and then I have a little bit of background in advertising and business from University of Tennessee. But I shoot just about all over. I shoot Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, just about wherever it takes me. Majority, I do weddings, but I also do a lot of family stuff, some senior stuff. And I know a couple years ago, we started a relationship with Millstone by coming and offering to take photos of their planting of the apple trees, which actually started a very lovely relationship. So it's definitely, I thought it was definitely beneficial to, kind of do something for a friend. Like at first it was really nice. So to like come out and do something. And of course I did it, on my own time, which I absolutely love. And now it just really strengthened our relationship. And y'all are like Millstone is usually my go-to place. So we love it.
Well, selfishly, we love that, and we've been able to for her to help us so much. But Marissa, are you going to share some of the things that we're going to talk about here? Marissa's going to kind of help lead me along the way, but we're going to go into some questions, and then along the way, guys, if you have questions, please put it in that chat. We want to be sure and answer that, whether it's from the photography side of what they look for, and that's what Liz is here for, or the agritourism side. I will say really quickly, we do photography only a certain time of year that we sell to photographers, like I know both Kevin and Wendy do. Um, and so we have our own perspective on it, but I think we all take our own twist, but I think we all agree this is a good option and revenue source to help with what you do. So Marissa, do you have some questions to start us off or lead me along the way?
I do, and I'll start with one, this Kevin, Wendy, a little bit for you guys, and you mentioned it a little bit in your intro, but what do you see as some of the biggest benefits of allowing photographers on your property? And then on the other side, what challenges does it bring from a daily operation standpoint? Wendy, I'll start with you.
Okay. um, so the benefit that there's a lot of benefits, but like for us, when we schedule photographers during our flower events, we charge the photographer a photographer fee, and we also charge their clients an admission fee. So, and those aren't included in our pre-sale tickets. So we already know we're going to have additional people here. Which is a lot of revenue. So they're bringing in clients that may or may not have come to our event, except for that they wanted the family pictures. So that's a huge win-win, I think, for everybody. And then they're also posting their pictures. And so, as we all know, social media is how we get clients. So they're posting their pictures, and it gets the word out there. And I'll also share their pictures. So I try to, return it as far as like, hey, this person's shooting here, or look at these pictures this photographer did. So I'm trying to throw business their way too. The downside for me is the scheduling, and just I think that it's hard for people like our tulip event is exhausting. It's like 3 weeks and you are going, just 24/7, and it's a lot. And so when I'm done with that, I'm kind of like done and I need a break, but then I still have I get a lot of requests. I get probably 2 to 3 a day to come take photography pictures here. And so I'm tired and I kind of need that break. I need my space. And I know that might be another question that we talk about. But so it's just that balance of because I live here on my farm too, that I'm like, I just need some privacy, I guess.
Yeah. I'll say it, like Wendy said, it brings a lot of new people onto your farm that might not ever come here uh, for anything else, but it brings folks in, and like she said, we've got a great group of around 30 to 35 photographers that consistently come back year after year to do tree farm sessions. And they are so good about sharing the photos and tagging us. And it helps give me some content to share leading up to that busy season. It helps me with some extra content that I can put on my stories every day, and just different shots of the guys out there taking pictures. For us, when we open for the photography sessions, that's really all we're doing other than preparing for Christmas. So there's a lot going on that we're trying to get ready, but they're our only customers, our only guests here. And so it's not as difficult dealing with all of our other customers when the photographers are here. But we found last year was the first year we actually opened our retail store early, when the photography session started, and we started selling cocoa and cider and had all of our ornaments and decorations and all of that stuff out for sale. And that really added some extra money that I was hoping it would be good. The folks came in, take the pictures, and they'd come stop by the store and get a cup of cocoa or popcorn or some baked goods, and then they would shop and spend some extra money. So it gave us a whole extra month of retail sales that we normally wouldn't have with the families coming in and out. It is a lot to manage, and the scheduling is hard. But over the years, we've developed a really good system through our website for scheduling that, and they schedule and pay in advance of their sessions, and then when they arrive, they just go straight to work in the fields. So the working on the back end and getting it all online and scheduling ahead of time makes the process of when you're open a lot easier.
And follow up for that, because I know some of our folks on the call may not do photography yet, but maybe considering it, what platform do you all use if you use a platform for scheduling? And how do you determine what's kind of your schedule of how many photographers you allow at once? Do you have them book an hour at a time? How is that kind of, what's your schedule and logistics in that sense?
So for us, we don't do a scheduling platform. I tried it one time on our website and it just didn't work well for me. And then our issue is we always, the dates. We're never quite sure until it's time that we're going to open. So if we're doing, I'm just going to say talk about tulips, but sunflowers, any of the flower events, it's really hard to put that schedule out there. So I just have people contact me to schedule, and that way I can have a conversation with them as far as like, hey, I'm going to schedule you tentatively, but just know that if they're not in bloom, or they bloom early, so just keep watching our posts so that we might have to reschedule you. We kind of just do what we feel like the field will hold. I will say that I probably scheduled too many photographers this year. Normally I like to do 8 photographers per hour, and I think we ended opening a week early, so I knew the photographers that had scheduled for our last week weren't going to be able to, we weren't going to have flowers for them. So I went ahead and bumped up those. I put them in with the ones that had already scheduled. And I did get a complaint that we had too many, the field was crowded with people and photography. So is that all of that question?
Yes,
So,
thank
so we
you.
don't use a platform. We just have them contact us, which is more time consuming. And I wish I could figure out a good platform, but that's how I do it.
And Kevin, what about you guys?
That's hard when your season is unknown as far as the starting date. With us, it's easy. I know exactly the days we're going to open. So I use Bookio through our website, and that has been great for us. It's relatively inexpensive per month. Um, and they just go straight to the website. The calendar is on the website. They can see what days are open, what hours are open. Um, we generally do, we start at 10 a.m. and then finish at dark, in hour increments. And they can book 1 hour. They can, so I have some that'll book an entire day, of sessions. But they book and pay for it in advance. They're on the website. And I'm really, I try my best to drive everything through my website just to increase that traffic on the website to keep your numbers up that way. So it's been a really good thing for me to do that. We allow right now, last year we were at 3 photographers per hour. So I may be able to increase that to 4 this year. But right now we're just at 3 an hour.
Well, and I'm gonna
Okay.
just really quick add to that too of just our little exposure with it is we only really do a organize for our spring blooms for peach trees, which is again, like Wendy says, there is no date on the calendar that says they're going to start. Mother Nature just absolutely drives it. And so you're only as good as what your weather is that year, and which makes it very challenging trying to open dates. We do also do online. So we're more like Kevin. I don't do Bookio. We do a pre-bought ticketing system. They go in and buy their hour. But anyway, it is very hard to know when to open because we're not like Kevin is. In fact, we're more like Wendy, that Mother Nature drives what we do.
Absolutely. And I
What do
was
you
gonna
guys, oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Wendy.
Um, so I always have the photographer pay when they get here. What do you do if you have to, if you have like a rain out or something, or have to are they canceled? Do you refund money? How does that work for you guys?
That is an
Kevin.
issue for sure. If I book an entire Saturday of 3 an hour for the whole day and then it rains, it's a struggle. I do leave some days open after we open to sell trees. I leave some blocks of time open that we can reschedule those. And I can reschedule them on another weekend. 3 is a number that I'm comfortable with, where I can add 2 more the following weekend if I need to. Um, so I try to leave a little cushion there to be able to reschedule them, or I'll just refund their money if it doesn't. A lot of times they schedule an appointment, and then all of their clients are scheduling, and just the nightmare of trying to for them to have to reschedule. They might have 5 clients in an hour, and them trying to reschedule those is hard. So a lot of times we just have to refund the money on that.
Mhm.
Well, and Marissa will tell you for us, I mean, the worst thing ever in the world is having to deal with a rain out. The amount of work it costs you,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. But we try to first move them. We don't typically hold dates open. We will inconvenience ourselves on times that we typically wouldn't have done a session. We would push them to those times and just to try to get them in. But listen, we always say if it's a weather related event, we refund your money if we can't make it work. We never want the guests to be unhappy.
And the one thing I was going to add from we are like you, Wendy, with the seasonality component of you can't predict when the blooms are going to pop. And that has always been our challenge in the springtime. And one year we thought in February, I think we put them out in January and we're like, oh, they usually come mid-March. And that year they did not come mid-March. So that was a nightmare of its own. But what we learned from that is we do a Google form because we have photographers asking us in January of, when are you going to put your dates up for spring blooms? And we do peach blooms, so they're a beautiful pink color and they look like cherry blossoms for a comparison. And they'll ask us in January, some will ask us in December. So we created a Google form where we put it out and have the photographers fill that out if they're interested in photographing with us this year. And then usually mid-February, we'll start doing once a week updates to those photographers saying, there's been movement, there's no movement. We're expecting the dates to be maybe early March, mid-March, so that we kind of keep them on a watch for a month or so until we launch the dates, knowing that they have a small window to book, but we just don't ever want to let them down by being wrong in the dates that we do put out there from the initial standpoint. So that has been really beneficial. Do we get it right still every time? No, but it is much better than it was. But Liz, from your side, from the photography side, what are some of the challenges that you face when working with farms and agritourism destinations and weather?
Yeah, so building off of that a little bit, I have a lot of I have clients that will specifically want the peach blooms. And they, I give them a disclosure. Hey, I don't know when it'll be. Could be this month. Could be a week. Like it could only last a week or two. I kind of let them know it's very short time, short life. And so they're like, that's fine. We'll work with whatever you're given. And usually my clients, they know that they want those photos and they will try and work around this date. And sometimes I'll open up to other people that are available if something doesn't work out. But as it is very weather dependent, sometime like I shot this year and like, just within the 3 day span, like the blooms looked a lot different, than the first day, because of weather. But, I let my clients know that, and it's like, hey, it's nature, weather. So can't control it, but we can try our best. But they usually know ahead of time. And I will usually, when they open up spots, like I pay very close attention to the newsletters and all the updates that they send out, like, hey, blooms are, coming out, blah blah blah. Which is really good that I can, stay subscribed to that. And I subscribe to the newsletter, so I get all the information from Millstone too. But it helps a lot too with figuring out when stuff is in bloom too, not just peaches. You can find, all the blackberries, blueberry, apples, and all that other stuff. So, but typically I will book and then I let my clients know because they're usually pretty flexible with like, we know we want these photos, so we'll work around your schedule. So, in which I work around millstones. So,
Awesome. And Kevin, Wendy, how do you guys determine your pricing? I know you both do a little bit different from the scheduling side, but how did you pick your pricing and have you adjusted it throughout the years?
We started out, my wife tells me I don't charge enough, but we started out originally, I think, at $40 an hour, and then we bumped it up a few years ago to 50 an hour. And then last year we started the golden hour times from 3 to 6 or 3 to dark. We bumped that up to 60, and it really didn't change. They were still those hours are the first booked every year. So I'm thinking we may go up just a touch more on that for those golden hour times because that's what everybody wants. Um, so right now we're at 50 and 60, 50 for a regular hour and then 60 for the golden hour.
Awesome. And Wendy, what about you guys?
Yeah, we tried to kind of just see what other farms around us were charging. That's kind of how we started, but we have definitely adjusted through the years. So right now, if somebody's scheduled photography because the farm isn't open to the public, we're not having a flower event, we charge 50 an hour. If it's during one of our flower events, we charge the photographer $30 an hour because their clients are paying admission. So I just feel like that's fair, because I don't know, it's another cost. They're going to pass it on, right? So I just want to be fair that way. One year or several years, we would kind of do the golden hour like Kevin. But what I found out while I was charging $50 an hour plus the admission, was and saying that the farm, it was like towards the end of our evening, hoping that most of the other guests were leaving and they just weren't. So I was charging extra money for photographers to come later in the evening and kind of having, less people here, but it just, to me, it wasn't working out. And I felt bad charging more. So this year I didn't do that. It was just a straight $30 per hour that they were here. And then we do a lot at Christmas. We are going to take a break this year from doing Christmas photos, but we for that, we were doing the same thing, $25 an hour per family. And then I was getting like, uh, you know, 18 people, and they were in the same family. I'm like, okay, no, no. I'm not talking immediate family. So it was like kind of like this struggle on who is really in their family and who's not. So I got a little bit frustrated with that. So then last year I was like, okay, I'm just going to charge per person. And I actually did sell these tickets online, and I went with $5 a person, thinking that it would all kind of balance out, but it really didn't, because it seemed like I was getting three people as, a family, where I would have gotten 25 or $30 for those three people. I was getting 15. So there's got to be a happy medium there. I just haven't figured that one out yet.
Well, I'm going to
No,
just
that's been
real
our challenge. Go ahead,
I was going
Beverly.
to say really quick from our side, just to give our perspective on it, is that we charge a little higher amount for those peach blossoms for that, but we keep it super exclusive. So we don't allow many photographers. So our big deal is that we didn't want them to have to Photoshop out or to people in the background. So, I mean, Marissa, what is the amount we normally let in?
We do three at a time, so kind of like you, Kevin, there, and then
Yeah.
we charge 75 an hour
Mhm.
for normal, or $100 an hour for the golden hour.
Yes.
Um,
So it's a definitely a little different. We guarantee them or try to guarantee them an exclusive row. So
mhm.
on both sides they would have the peach blooms for us. So we try to do less and charge more. I don't know if that's the answer or not, but Marissa, I know you had a question for Liz, and then I'm going to try to help you a little bit because Marissa's not at 100% tonight. So I'll see if I can jump in.
Perfect. But the one thing I'll also add to our pricing is, Wendy, I know for you, they just walk to the location. Kevin, I don't know about for you, but our peach orchard specifically is not on site, so they can't walk to it. So we have to add, bless you, um, a hayride component or some sort of transportation out there. And then everything we do, from not just photography, but you pick and everything else, we try to add some sort of experience component. So they have the hayride, but then we also give them a mini cider slushy when they get back, to try to increase that value without having too much of a cost to us. So we hope that that levels out with the little bit of a higher price tag, but that's one thing that we have that's different sometimes than other photography locations, is just the transportation component. But Liz, when working with, not even if it's just agritourism, but any destination that you photograph at, do you base your pricing on if the venue has a charge, or if they charge your customers? How do you usually handle that with your clients? So like if it was Wendy and you have a fee and then your guests have to pay the fee, how do you normally handle those situations?
So typically from my clients, what I'll do is if I generally know how much like a venue is going to charge, if I know that I'm going to already book a couple for my clients, and be like, whether it's golden hour or not, I will typically try and incorporate that into the pricing that I send them. And it has gone up a little bit with everything, but typically, it does depend on how much. I try and stick to the same amount, but enough to cover what they would get charged. I wouldn't like, I know that y'all charge an admission fee, but I would typically incorporate that in and be like, hey, there's an admission fee, there's this, and then just pay it up all front. And then I'd probably try and take care of it beforehand. So it's less stuff that they have to deal with. So it's less stressful. Because some people have little kids and they are, all over the place. And sometimes it's a little extra, less step to have to do. Um, but I do try and consider that when I'm doing my pricing, as far as that goes, but it does kind of depend on the area, because I may charge 250 for a mini session, but if I go somewhere and it's 150 or $200 to book a photo session for an hour, I may have to bump it up a little or something. Not saying that anyone charges that around here, but for an example. But there are certain places and certain parks even that you have a photography pass or something, and it's 150, and it's not typically what, incorporated into some of the pricing that I would typically charge. So
I love that, Liz. I will tell you that because I think that brings up another point is that you're right, that a lot of places of how they do it is a little bit different. But we talked about, at least, I know y'all talked about not using scheduling apps or what you're using. Do you require any policies of either your photographers or the guests that come, liability, those type of things? Wendy, do you guys require anything, or they're just an open guest?
Sorry, couldn't get it off mute.
There you go.
We have had policies in the past. And I have like rules on our website, and I do like refer people to the website and say, please read the information. But as far as having a form or anything like that, we don't have them sign it.
Yeah.
So I just I just try to be very consistent with everybody, and when they check in and when they call to schedule, like this is what I'm expecting from you, when you're going to pay, and that type of thing with their clients. If you move any of my props, please move them back. They never do, but that type of stuff.
No, great question. I guess we should have asked the thing, do you offer props? And then Liz, you would probably love if there were props there. Wendy's Farm's amazing. Kevin, what do you think about that question? That do you have any kind of liability thing that happens?
I do for the photographers. I don't I don't have their clients sign anything, but when they reserve their session online, I have a very detailed list of what is expected of them and what they can expect from me. And they have to click on a box to agree to those terms before they're allowed to pay for the session. So they know in advance. And then they'll also get another email, I think it's 1 or 2 days before their session with that same list again to remind them of what's expected, like dogs. That's
Mm.
it can be a really big issue. That we make sure they have to stay on a leash at all times if they're on the property. Um, I've had to kick people out because they wouldn't keep it. They had a leash, but they wouldn't keep the dog on a leash, and I've had to ask them to leave. They have to clean up after them. And a lot of things like that. Props. We have a lot of folks that bring props in. They'll bring in a whole sofa sometimes and set it between the tree rows to take pictures on. And we allow all of that. But there's very detailed instructions on what they can and can't do. So they know in advance of what, so there's no questions. And if they do something, that's not allowed, I just say, look, here's the paper you signed that said you would not do that. And by and large now, the group, we've been very fortunate by doing that on the website. I think it portrays an image of professionalism for photographers, and it kind of weeds out some of the not so good photographers that don't want to go through those hoops. And the good ones, we've ended up with a group of really good photographers that they take care of the farm. They do everything right. We don't have issues with them. It's just occasionally one or two that don't like to follow the rules. But
And
I
I
think
think that's always the
if
case.
you really put it out there, if you put it out there ahead of time and remind them and make sure they know what's expected ahead of time, it's a lot easier, and you get a better quality photographer too.
No, I like that. And briefly I'll tell you that for us, that way back in the day, and this would be 15 years ago, we didn't charge anything. We were so thankful to have people to photograph our land. We would go, just tag us, just tag me. Um, but then we realized that Marissa's right. We had to evaluate what we did differently because we have to provide transportation to the photographer and to their guests that are coming out because we're not accessible by foot, or at least it wouldn't be across the stream. So it is interesting that everybody faces that a little bit different. Um, we should be probably asking for more expectations. Kevin, I love that you put it, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I expect from you. So I think that's really good. Liz, do you see that as you go to different farms and places that people require that?
I do. And typically, and as a wedding photographer, not just like farms and stuff, a lot of venues will require you to have insurance, which I have my own business insurance, I have general liability insurance, to cover everything and, my clients and whatnot. But I have had to sign some things like to the point where it's like, hey, and exactly how Kevin was saying, it's like, hey, we expect this of you, this and this, like it is a working farm or like, whatnot. Like this is what we expect and make sure your clients know this as well. Which I know y'all are pretty good about letting people know, like, hey, we are a working farm. Like you need to be careful. There's equipment, there's this, there's that. Don't do this. Sometimes some of the obvious things are not so obvious to certain people and like kids, and they'll start, picking flowers or touching this or doing that. But usually everyone's really respectful. But it is good to have that up front for sure.
No, I love that. Um, I wanted to ask here, I'm kind of curious, and this would be more to Wendy and Kevin. Does this interfere with your farm operations? Or do you just do photography and go, hey, we're not doing any other farm operations but photography? Wendy, what do you guys do? Do y'all just have that you're doing photography, or are you doing other things in the background of whether not mowing necessarily, but is there things that have to be maintained in other operations?
Right. So especially when the farm is closed, and then we're scheduling photography. I do try to not like mow or be deadheading out in the roses and stuff. So when I know clients are coming, I do try to not do any maintenance on the farm. But that just also goes to the scheduling and trying to fit everything in, or that I'm not frustrated like, oh great, now I have to stop what I'm doing because I know I have this photographer coming. But um overall it balances out. Like tomorrow we have a family coming for pictures, but it's actually going to be a surprise engagement. So, and I, they've already been out and checked it out, and so I know exactly where he's going to propose. So today I was like working really hard in that area because I just wanted to look really pretty for him. um so things like that. But sometimes you can't help it. There's like things that have, like, lose a tree or something, and you've got to be working on your farm and do things, and then they're just going to have to work around you. But that doesn't happen too often.
Kevin, what about you guys?
For us, I try to have the tree fields ready and all of the work done there, the shearing and all of that, weeds, mowing. I will make sure that's all done before sessions start. We're during that time we're really busy getting ready for Christmas and getting everything set up and getting the store stocked and finishing up. There's always projects that are running right up until the last minute trying to get those done. But generally, that is not happening anywhere around my tree fields. So um, it works out that they can go out in the field and uh, a lot of times if we're working on a tractor in another field, the kids like to see that, seeing the tractors working. So um, I think it shows people that it is a working farm if, they see some things like that happening while they're there taking pictures, and it adds to the experience.
Well, I love that. I tell everybody my favorite word is authenticity. And when you see those type things, you are truly an authentic farm. And these are the real things that have to be done. So, we really try to have it all ready for everybody and have everything pretty and but we also have to understand we are farms. So I want to do a couple of different questions. Well, one to Wendy and Kevin, and then one to Liz. And then I really want to open to some of the guys here to see if we have any questions you guys would like to know. But Wendy and Kevin, if there was one piece of advice you to give to somebody, because I define photography as almost rental of my land, which is such a different agritourism offering that there's no cost of goods outside of your labor. and your manicure to it, what one piece of advice would you give to somebody considering doing this? And Wendy, I'll start again with you.
My advice would be to do it, and it is a definite way to make money, and especially if you can focus on times that maybe you wouldn't be making money, like for us, Christmas. Chris, we usually bring in $6,000 to $8,000 for photography during Christmas when the farm would not make any money whatsoever during that time. So if you can find like a niche like that, I like to decorate, so I like to make cute little things. Example, like we did this umbrella that had these flowers on it. I saw it on Pinterest and I was like, hey, Art, can you help me with this? He loves Pinterest. And we hung it from a tree. Y'all, there was a line during tulips for this for people to take pictures with this umbrella, and he's like, I'm gonna have to move that umbrella because they're killing my grass. I mean, it's funny, but if you can just find a few like cute ways that people are going to want to take a picture, because people love to take pictures. So my advice would just, yeah, be try to find something that would set your farm apart from another farm that might be doing similar things, but they'd be like, oh, wait a minute, if I go there, not only do I get to pick flowers, but I get to walk around this whole venue, and they have different areas set up for different pictures. So I think that sometimes we get clients that way because we have more to offer for picture taking.
No, I love that. And by the way, check out Wendy's website. If you could see her pictures or her social media last year, what they do is my dream on photo ops. We try to all the time have these photo ops. She is the queen of photo ops. Amazing. Kevin, what do you recommend to somebody just thinking about? Is this something I want to do?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as Wendy. You have to create a place that people want to come back, an experience, but you have to really manage whatever crops it is. It's sometimes with the weather, you can't control the weather, but for me with Christmas trees, I do my best to grow a premium tree, beautiful trees that people want to come have their pictures made in. And we have so many people that drive by here every day and they see the trees and they're the first ones in line wanting the pictures because they see them all the time. So you have to do your main business is the crop. You have to do a good job with that and create a beautiful place that people want to come to. Um, and then the photo ops too. I don't do nearly as well as Wendy does, but I'm trying. We built a mistletoe kissing booth a couple of years ago, and it sits right beside the entryway. And sometimes the photographers use it, but most of the time it's the families just stop there and they'll take a picture in the kissing booth under the mistletoe as they're coming in and out. But just memories like that, and just try to keep your place nice and clean and welcoming.
No,
It's really
absolutely.
cute, Kevin. Your kissing booth, that was really cute.
Oh,
I love
oh,
that. I love that. And
and it's
again, as
not.
much as Wendy is the queen of all photo ops, Kevin, you ever get a chance to go to his farm, I highly recommend.
Mhm.
The passion they show and what they do there is something you will not find a lot of places. And he's truly, and his family is one of a kind. Um, so Miss Liz, I want to turn it around a little bit. If we are marketing, we are agritourism farmers, and we are marketing, we want to start doing photography. How do we appeal to photographers to take a chance on our farm?
So I do think it goes a lot with that unique experience too. You know, I've worked at I've shot at a couple different farms, and it is favorable to have almost like incentives as well, because it's also beneficial to the farm. Um, when I do sessions, I do a lot of family sessions or whatnot, and my clients are always like, "Oh, I'm going to go visit the store, the Apple Barn, and this and that," and they usually get like Marissa and them said they get a free slushie, like they get to kind of have like an instant. Not, I mean, obviously they want their pictures done, but it's also a bonus. Like, oh, I get a free slushie. I get a tractor ride. And y'all might not have that distance in between where the photos are taken and where, clients arrive. But um, I definitely think it's a good thing to offer for clients. Oh, I just lost my train of thought too. Okay. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Uh,
And
okay.
I was going to say on that's the point I probably didn't bring up for us. But again, we are forced with a transportation issue. So we are forced to put them on a hayride. So, oh, now it's a hayride. So, how do we make it into an experience? And I think what Liz is saying there is so we go, okay, we do a small, not a full size. We hope it's enough just to tempt their taste buds. And Wendy knows slushy works. That we do, it's literally a 4.5 ounce. So, but everybody gets one as part of it. And some will leave and that's all they do, but they do feel like they get additional value that we find. And so if we can round their experience, that photography is the center point, I think that benefits us.
For sure. And definitely too, I know in the photography community, there are certain farms that are like, oh, like Dewberry, it's like everyone knows them for tulips. I personally have not shot there, but one of my best friends shoots there all the time and she does it every year. And it's like I now also too free marketing from photographers. I tell people about stuff all the time. I'm like, hey, did you know there's peach blooms here? And they're like, what? I thought those were cherry. People think they're cherry blossoms, but oh, I thought those were only in DC and here and there. And sometimes people just don't know about it yet. And it's like, it's a free way of marketing, and it's the best way is word of mouth. People telling about it, and that's how I've heard about some of them, and just through other photographers just saying, hey, like they do this and this. And, sometimes you may not know they might do sunflowers and tulips and this and that. But it is good to know from the farm when those seasons are as well, especially coming from photographers that don't know when peach blooms bloom or that they only last 2 weeks or, it is important to enlighten photographers and people about that as well. So, and just to keep in mind.
No, and I really think that for all of us at photography, farms, whatever, word of mouth is one of our very best ways of everything we do. And guys, I wanted to kind of end with that a little bit, but just I wanted to see if anybody had any questions to take advantage of the experts we've got here. You're welcome to come off mic. Marissa's going to facilitate. If you had, Marissa, is there anything in the chat?
There was only
That's
one question that Kevin answered. It was just about what booking system he used, and he put
okay.
the answer in the chat, which was Bookio earlier.
Well, and then we'll add to that. We use Ticket Spice for ours, Marissa.
We do. Yep.
Okay. And they pre-purchase ours. And then again, if we have a weather issue, we work to reschedule. And if we can't make it work and it's a weather thing, we always refund. We make the guest happy. But anybody wants to come off mic for a minute, please join the conversation and take advantage of these great people. They've been doing it a long time.
There's one question
Okay.
coming in the chat, Beverly. I don't know if you saw that. This Kevin and Wendy, this would be for you, but do you guys offer a place to change clothes if they're changing outfits in between?
Great question.
Yes, we do. We have a bathroom that they can use.
Okay.
Uh,
Kevin?
We don't. We've only one time, I would say, in the last 7 or 8 years that we've even been asked for that. Most of the time, they they don't. There's not. That's not been an issue for us. So no, we haven't provided that. We could, if we needed to, we have a place we could do that, but it's not. We don't just we don't get asked that. Um, and I will say one of the fun things I like to do in the fall on Saturdays, if I can take a few minutes just to sit back and watch the families coming in and out in their their Christmas pajamas or their Christmas outfits. It's a lot of fun to see the family dynamics as they're walking in with the kids and wearing their pajamas. I enjoy sitting, if I can take a break for a few minutes and just watch them come in and out, to see that with the outfits.
No, I love that. And I will tell you for us, because we transport them to a field with no facilities, a lot of our photographers bring pop-up tents.
Mhm.
And it's
I was just
it's
gonna
not a
say that.
tent. I'm not saying it right, but
It's like a
Marissa helped
pop-up
me.
changing room.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Liz, if there's a formal term for it, let me know, but it looks like a changing room that is a
Mhm.
pop-up.
The pop-up tent. So,
Yeah.
and too, like circling back to the whole prop thing too. Of course, you have to get transport out to the orchards, but they usually have a bench out there. And I noticed y'all put a table out there this year. So nice. A lot of people put their bags and stuff on it because some people don't want to put it down on the ground. But there's a bench out there that I will usually like any of the photographers can use in the rows, which is super nice because I also not only have to carry my camera gear, I won't have to carry a couch or a chair or something if someone wanted something specific or if I wanted to have some sitting down shots. So that's super nice too.
No, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. So great question about changing. What other questions? Anybody else want to put it in the chat or come off mic?
Beverly, I was going to circle back with what Liz said, and it is true. And I know as much as like for us, we try to put the information out, and I feel like we do put the information out, and people don't read it. But um, we do this all the time, and so like I know a tulip is only going to last 3 weeks, so but I have to remember that that's because that's what I do. And so, like last week, I promised I had an email that somebody wanted to schedule June 20th for a tulip minis. And I'm like, there's no tulips. But we're going to be really close to sunflowers. So I know it's, we do it. So we know kind of our calendar, but I feel like I do need to be better somehow about getting that information out for photographers.
And I think communication is the hardest part of what we do in everything. That we have people, Marissa will tell you in February, that go, can we come out and pick apples? There is a disconnect with agriculture of what really happens. And part of our job, sadly, to educate. Yeah, that'll be September, of when when it actually happens. But yeah, I think there is definitely a disconnect of when they think things should happen and when they do. Guys, what else?
Liz, I know you answered this a little bit, um, but Wendy, Kevin, what ways do you market to photographers? You both offer photography, but do you do Facebook? Do you do email? How do you guys market to let people know you offer photography sessions?
I do a lot I start midsummer talking about it, Facebook and Instagram, and then I keep an mailing list of all of the photographers that have been here in the past, and I start sending those emails out around July too. And the booking opens August 1st.
Okay.
Um, so typically I'll have that first week of August, all of my regulars will book ahead of time. And but yeah,
Awesome.
social media is the biggest way.
And Wendy, what about you guys?
Same. I mean, we just social media. I'll usually make a post that, we're pretty sure that these will be our dates and if you would like to schedule. Um, but I really don't market to the photographers, but just put it out there on social media.
That's
And
awesome.
again, Marissa said the same for us, that we have so many people that ask early what we can't answer. We do that Google form
Hmm.
that tells us they're interested. As soon as we have content, we go to them first. And we
Yep.
promise to go to them first, but it's the only way to get them to try to communicate because it's definitely a challenge.
And Liz, from your side, if you're looking for photography destinations that are new or different, or if people are just getting into the photography space, are there groups that they should be a part of, or like ways that they could find a lot of photographers? Any recommendations there?
There are a couple of like Facebook groups, North Carolina wedding and portrait photographers. I know I'm a part of. There's North Carolina vendors, stuff like that. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but and funny enough, I see a lot of stuff from my photographers that will tag locations or have the location geotag and on social media and the Instagram or Facebook post, and I'll click on it and be like, oh, okay, what is this place? Oh, this is an hour away from me. Okay, cool. Oh, they do this and this and this. Okay. Sometimes that's how I find it. Sometimes the clients have it in mind already. They know what they want. They're like, hey, I want this, you know, or that and that. And then you just gotta be like, okay, well, what season does it come around? And kind of figure it out for them too. Because like, y'all all agreed. Sometimes they want things and it's not in season. And they're like, well, why? And I'm like, well, not there. So it does happen sometimes.
No, definitely unrealistic expectations sometimes, but
Yeah.
guys, I really want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight, and I hope you got something out of this. That you are well. Let me first of all thank Liz. She is my rock star photographer, so we are so blessed to have her around the orchard, and I'm sure she's probably going to be visiting Wendy and Kevin very soon. But good photographers, they are just so amazing because I loved what Kevin said earlier. You get the same ones and they respect your land. They understand the passion of what you do and they carry that forward. And then you get the people, you only bring those in. And then again, we were really blessed tonight with Wendy and Kevin that they have been doing it and doing it right for a long time. And I follow what they do at our farm, and I appreciate them both being part of this. And this again is Empower Hour. We really want this to be a great thing that is part of your value of membership of being part of the North Carolina Agritourism Networking Association. So thank you guys for joining us. I don't even know what next month is yet, but watch out. Christy will send it out. Marissa, what else are we ending with?
I think
Beverly, I
that
wanted to just say real
Yes.
quick too that part of another benefit of being, with the NCANA is the networking between us. So I know the three of us, we share each other's posts all the time.
Yes.
And I think that just helps get the word out. And
mm,
when I'm here on my farm and we're having an event, I hear about Millstone. I hear photographers talk about Kevin's place. So it's just another great benefit. And I don't know who's on the call, but if anybody's watching, find out the farms around you so that you can help them. So if you can help share their post and help, it helps us all. So anyway.
I love that, Wendy. Thank you. Kevin, what else?
I really appreciate you letting us do this tonight. Photography started out with me. It was more of a frustration trying to deal with a problem, and it's turned into something that's really been good for us. So I enjoy it, and it's something we work hard at now to really try to do a good job with. So I enjoy sharing about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Marissa, I'm gonna let you close it out tonight.
As a photographer, though, we do appreciate. Oh, wait, I thought I was muted for a second.
No, you go, Liz.
So, as a photographer, though, we do appreciate everything that y'all do and go through and have to schedule and set up. So, it's definitely worth it in the end to see happy clients and for them to be able to explore and go see everyone's land, farm, everything that's going on. So,
Thank you, Liz.
well, thank you guys so much for joining tonight. I hope this was helpful. I hope it maybe opened your eyes to something new you could offer on your farm. We have a bunch more months in the year to do Empower Hour topics. So if there's something that comes to your mind that you would like to learn about, please let us know. You can email Christy and she'll get it over to us so we can find some great experts to talk to that topic. But Christy will also share this recording out. So if you want to reference back to anything, we now have everything on a YouTube channel. So even if you haven't listened to any of the previous Empower Hours, there's topics on food on the farm, field trips, group tours, different events. So we're hoping that that'll also be a resource to everybody. But thank you guys for joining and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
all
you,
for
guys.
hosting it.
So good.